Juan Deere is back again with something guaranteed to make your life just a little bit easier. You thought they had everything covered with the instant classic Juan Deere S10 and under? Well, you couldn't be more wrong. The wise people at Juan Deere know your child even better than you do. They're aware that as little Jimmy's brain grows and develops, he's going to stop wanting to play the mow the yard game. Eventually, he's going to get bored and lazy. Luckily, the adult product engineers at Juan Deere are experienced at outsmarting children of all ages. Trust us, we hired the majority of them away from Hasbro and Mattel. With that in mind, on sale now at all Juan Deere locations is the amazing, brand new S11 and over all-yard ATV. The men and women at Juan Deere have taken your child's TikTok corrupted attention span into account with this fabulous new children's riding lawnmower. The S11 and over is totally customizable. You can slap on some of the free Juan Deere stickers that are included and have little Lance or Karen feeling like a big X Games star as they ride around the yard, naively doing good old dad's yard work for him for at least a couple more summers. This allows you to continue propping your feet up with your favorite cold beverage on Saturday and catching every minute of the game. Still equipped with all of the safety features that you've come to expect and rely on, Juan Deere has broken the mold again with the S11 and over all-yard ATV. Just tell them, put away that homework for now, kids. It's time for you to head outside for some fresh air and fun. Then you relax, pat yourself on the back, and let your kids take care of the mowing for you. Find it now, just in time for spring, at all authorized Juan Deere dealers.
Oh, here we go again. Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your dads again, your online daddies. Oh no, it's your online in-laws, your digital daddies.
Yeah.
And we are going to share some wisdom with you again. We're here back again, check it direct. I say that too many times. I have to come up with my own little daddy rap.
Yeah, dad rap.
It's
all you, man.
It's Corey and Dan. Hey Dan.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, just living that good life, rolling around in that podcast money.
Yep.
So we're going to share some more wisdom with you. We're going to give you that daddy juice.
Again,
spraying you with the daddy juice. It's your two dads. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. Maybe I did. I got a bad short-term memory, as our repeat guests will remember. Because I talk about it a lot because I forget it every time I say it.
Yeah. We're
going to talk today about something that I have maybe more than you, maybe not, been experiencing lately. And that is the baby's trying to train me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You speak with a firmness that lets me know that you have some experience in this, and that's good. I'm glad that we are able to, move on to older and older topics.
Yeah.
It actually does allow the podcast to grow because we'll be talking about more stuff as they get older.
Yeah.
So he's doing this thing, and I say this thing, but it's really lots of things that he's doing. It reminds me of the dog. The dog tries to train me too. He does this get up and run to the door thing every time I make even the slightest move to the door.
Yep.
Trying to get me to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
And now Jack is quite a bit more overt. He will literally take my hand and take me to his shoes and say, "Shoe." Then he will go to his jacket and point at it and cry until I put him on him. And then he will take my hand to the front door, and he will cry until I open it.
Yep.
And then he'll cry until we go outside.
Yep.
I call it training me. I don't know what else you could call it. Someone smarter is going to have something. Someone at home is like, "That's not training you, dude, dummy. That's da-da-da."
Yeah. But that's what we feel like we're being trained.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
And just so you know, it's been going on since he was born. You've been being trained.
I think you mentioned something about that in an earlier episode where he was like doing something and they're all, as soon as they're born, they're training you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something where he would cry at a certain time or in a certain way. And you had mentioned that it was about him already starting to train me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's gotten a bit more obvious about it. And it was obvious enough that I thought, hey, let's talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Sometimes, honestly, it's hard to find a topic because nothing necessarily has to change week to week. I have failed to write many times. I have failed to write down a good topic idea. I'm trying to get better at that.
Yeah.
But
I usually think of them when at the worst time when I can't stop even just for a minute to write it down. Like I'm like my hands aren't free or whatever, and at work or something, and I just can't. And then by the time I get done doing what I'm doing, I'm like, what was that again?
Yeah.
Damn it.
The best I've been able to do is to get an app on my phone that allows me to make notes.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, the ideas come to me in the shower.
Yeah, and you can't have your phone
whatever. So I'm a little bit short on ideas from time to time, and this one came at an opportune moment. I say that really when it's annoying as fuck, but it gives us content, and that's really what it's all about. Is if my life is going to be hard, hopefully I can take that and turn it into content for the good listeners, for our. It's really hard to put a number on it. I say that in a half joking manner, but people listen to like one episode, and then 4 weeks later they listen to another episode. So I can't even look at episode 5 and say, okay, that many people have listened to that episode, so we have that many listeners.
Yeah.
Because that's just, that's an incomplete number.
Yeah.
So, whatever our listener number is, we hope that they are getting a lot out of our content.
Yeah.
And I think that sadness and depression and frustration tends to bring more entertaining content. And that's really what this is making. It's making me really frustrated, really sad, and really depressed because he's just so much smarter than me. And he's learning so fast that it makes me feel dumb. But I've kind of given a preamble and intro to our topic today, our daddy issue, if I didn't mention that before. And I tried to give you the time to improvise some stuff to talk about because life caught up to us, and the note taking on this particular episode was a little bit sparse. So hopefully I've prattled on enough to give you time to get your thoughts together. So what do you have for our good listeners? We need a name. What didn't we have a name for the dad? I was using Dad League. That's very generic and uninspiring. Didn't have no zing to it.
The Dadniverse.
The Dadniverse.
I don't know.
Let the Dadniverse hear your thoughts on your baby training you.
Well, like I've already said, it happens as soon as they're born because you're being trained on diaper schedule. Well, not really a schedule on diaper change, but a feeding schedule and a sleeping schedule, and they're training you on that, and then they're constantly, even from day one, they're training you in patience because as a new if you don't already have kids and this is your first child like it is ours, you have probably not minimal patience, but I have more patience now than I did before she was born. I can tell you that right now. But yeah, they make you patient. They give you that ability to, and of course everybody has limits, but they're always training you. Even now, like my daughter, you talked about your son wanting to go outside. Well, my daughter does that too. As soon as she gets up from her nap, go outside and go slide. Because we have a little, like one of those little swing sets with a little plastic slide on the end. And she just loves to go down the slide or go outside. And then when we get outside, she'll ignore it and want to kick her ball around back and forth, which is cool. Because that reminds me of throwing or playing catch with my dad. She's not quite at that age yet, but at least we can kick the ball back and forth, and she's getting pretty good. And but yeah, she's training me there, and then I'm trying to think of that. That was the main one, but just her routine. If I'm not doing something right, she's kind of got to that point where, hey, this is what me and mom do in the morning, and sometimes she'll tell me, which I'm getting used to that, but or I'm already used to her routine. Don't get me wrong, but. It's just, if I, whatever, but she'll, she lets me know, hey, I want chocolate milk in the morning, or I want juice, or she'll tell me, hey, and she's training me, okay, hey, get up and go do it kind of thing. Even, that could be even a future dad thing too, if you want to look at it that way. They're going to always be training you until you're in the empty nest stage, quote unquote, at that point when they're on their own.
It's going to be different phases of them trying to hide it.
Yeah.
It will be about whether they're overt at this age, not really hiding the fact that they're training you to do what they want, how they want it, or as a teenager where they try to they may think, or they may actually be manipulative manipulative enough to train you in, other ways at that point through lying or whatever.
Another thing I thought of real quick is sometimes she'll get up. I've mentioned on here she likes those applesauce packets or whatever. She'll get up. She'll come up to me and she'll point to the fridge and say apple, and then take my hand and bring me to the fridge to help her get one, because sometimes the drawer's heavy for her, so I have to open it. But she'll do that. That's another thing, like the apple or the chips or something, or snacks usually is what it is. But yeah, the food, she likes she doesn't like everything, but she likes what she likes, and
she wants it when she wants it.
Yeah.
I think if Jackson's pretty independent. I think if he could open doors himself, or if I allowed him to access the kitchen chairs, that he would just do these things on his own.
Yeah.
Because half of it is him taking me to the front door, him taking me to the bedroom, asking me to let him into these different places or let him out outside. And if he could just turn the knob himself, then he'd probably be content to leave me sitting there.
Oh, yeah, she can. She does the front door. We have one of those things on the inside that you have to get it in the right, hit the doorknob, and it's got holes on the side, and that's how you open it. But if we're all sitting outside and she forgets something inside, she can reach up and turn it. She can't, like we do, she can't do it, but she'll grab it over it and turn it, and she opens the door, so she can do that. She can turn on, our light switches are kind of low, like in her bedroom every night. That's a routine where she'll go in and flip on the switch, and the lights come on, and she thinks it's cool, which I think is kind of funny. She laughs, yeah, I did it, like an accomplishment. But
Jackson was standing there,
little wins,
on off, flicking it back and forth, like saying the words on and off,
yeah,
and flicking it back and forth. When they do the simplest things, it's so cute.
Yep.
You see on TV and whatever that the new parents are sharing just every picture they take and talking about the simplest things. And if you're not a parent, you're like, oh, God, that's so annoying. But when you are a parent and they're doing those things, it's like, did you see this?
Yeah.
Did you look at this? This is just oh, my God. And when you see other kids or other parents sharing the same things, you get like a similar feeling from it. It's a secondhand high or whatever. Yeah, I think that Jackson is obviously, I don't think that he looks at it as training me. I think,
no,
it is an unconscious thing.
Yeah, he's just doing what he wants to do, and the way he knows how to do it to get you to help him.
Yeah, it's really a lot of crying. His biggest tactic in my training regimen or his biggest form of communication is to cry. He will let me know if I made the wrong turn, if I grabbed the wrong item, if I'm not doing something fast enough, whatever it is. He will let me know with a good yell and a cry.
Yep.
I was hoping.
Does he repeat like what you want yet? Like if you're not getting his favorite car or something, does he scream and point car as you're going to get it or find it or look for it?
Particular things he will, like bananas. He knows to say nana.
Yeah.
And when he wants a banana, he will go in there and scream that again and again and again.
Okay.
So I imagine that it will spread out to other things.
Oh, it does.
Fun times.
No, yeah, fun times.
Gloria doesn't understand, and she doesn't listen to this podcast, but she doesn't understand being around him all the time. Like, it just affects you differently in so many different ways, as far as dealing with things and how you deal with things and how you react to things and how stressed out you are.
Yeah, I still most days struggle with that too, where I work, and that's an area I need to improve on too. But
yeah, I look at you as being similar to how it would be with me, or how it was with me, because I was working for a while when he was, younger, when we had a babysitter. It had been a long day, seemingly every time I worked, and then I would have to come home, and even if it was right before bedtime, because I would work second shift, he would sometimes still have an incredible amount of energy and still want all of my attention. And I am psychologically weak, for lack of a better way to describe it. And I just don't always have that. So that, that is a different way of looking at it from the same perspective. Look, because I did it both ways. I did, I had that lack of energy after a long day at work. And then nowadays I have it's not every day, because sometimes I'm good to go. Sometimes I slept enough or whatever, and I'm able to keep up. But there's other times where usually times where we are stuck inside due to weather or whatever, that by the time she gets home, I'm just done.
Tapping out.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, love you, glad to see you, take over, I'm going downstairs. And she's honestly really cool about that. She's much better at it than I am. After a long day of work for her, she comes home. We've gotten totally off topic, but it's whatever. After a long day of work, she comes home and she's still very excited to see him and very happy to spend time with him.
Oh, yeah.
And still 90% of the time happy to even cook dinner. And I think that a large part of that is because she was raised in a restaurant. And the other part of it is I do literally everything else around the house. I do, the laundry, the dishes, and not to say that she does, that I do all of it all the time, but I do all of it most of the time. And so I think it's easier for her to justify struggling through dinner if she's tired when she knows that I did the laundry and the dishes throughout the day while I was watching him.
Yeah.
It's turned into a pretty fair trade-off, and I have no complaints overall, or even, sparingly. She picks up where I let off and vice versa. So it's a pretty good give and take. But to bring it back around to training after that long break, I think that, man, this was one of those that it may be a good listen.
Yeah.
But it was really just a vent.
Yeah, a little bit.
It was almost more of a grind my gears.
Man, because once you realize there comes a point when you're like, damn it, this little bastard or this whatever is training me. The topic came to you and whatever. But yeah, there's a point in time. I mean, like I said, that happens from day one, whether you realize it or not. You look back and say, yep, that's when it happened. But yeah, when you finally realize it, you're like, shit, and there's nothing you can do because they can't take care of themselves. It's kind of like their way of making you grow the hell up or whatever if you're not.
Yeah, it sucks too because they want things that sometimes he wants things that are a good idea.
Yeah.
Like a banana.
Yeah.
Or if it's pretty outside, like it's a good idea to let him go outside. But
yeah.
I can't let him think that him doing this certain thing is going to get everything he wants every time. So it's a matter of trying to decide, okay, he wants to go outside. He just ate lunch and it's pretty and we need to go. But he's trying to drag me out there right now. So I can't give in. I have to wait however long until he is doing something else or whatever, until he gives me a sign that me leading the way outside now becomes my idea as opposed to his idea. So there's that, I don't know if you want to call it a battle, but there's that discussion in my head, that barrier to get around even after you realize, because it wasn't immediate that I learned this was happening. I thought about it maybe going on early on where we talked about it, I don't know, however long ago. And then I guess I forgot about it, kind of like all time low. And then when it started happening again, it was going on for a little bit before I realized that that's what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became something that was annoying and something that like waffled back and forth between a daddy issue and a grind my gears. And I think really it is more of a daddy issue because now that I realize what's going on, it's less of something that annoys me and more of something that you really do have to figure out and try to learn techniques, learn how they're going to be and how they are going to take your refusals or whatever the case may be. You have to figure out a way to navigate this correctly, because if you give in every single time, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
They're going to learn that crying gets them what they want.
Yep.
And I've made an extra effort to let him know that crying is not the key to open all doors. Mm-hmm. Sometimes literally, because he'll be trying to get in through a door.
Yeah.
And crying, and I'm like, no, well, that's not what we're doing right now.
Well, there's like if it's something like, for instance, the crying thing to get what you want. If she wants something and it's 3 steps in front of her and she's screaming for it, I'm like, no, you're gonna go get it. If you want it that bad, go pick it up, and I'll sit there and I won't get it, and I'll let her scream, and or not scream till whatever, ear piercing scream, but I'll
Scream
eventually.
herself sick.
But eventually she'll either move on to something else, or she'll want it that bad and go get it. Like, but if it's something like that she can't reach in the fridge, obviously I'm going to go get it for her. But if she's quote unquote allowed to have it, but yeah, I'm not going to
like vodka.
Well, no,
whipped
but
cream. Yeah.
like something on the shelf, like a cookie that she can't reach. Or,
Champagne.
Yeah. But yeah, there's times where you kind of have to step in and be the boss and show kind of who's the boss and who's alpha. Like, you got to know.
Sometimes you have to apply the Spartan kick.
That's right.
You have to say, stop fucking crying. Kick him across the room. And yeah, you kick him in the direction of something soft to land on, but you kick him hard. You kick him firm with the heel of your foot, straight in the chest. And if you hear a crack as they fly across the room, you know what that means? That means they learned a fucking lesson. And they learned that crying shit ain't going to get them what they want.
That's right.
He will learn, she will. Don't kick a girl. Don't.
No.
When I say these things, people.
It applies to boys.
Yeah, it applies to boys.
Yeah.
Dan is not giving you advice on. He's not abdic. I was about to say.
I'm not applying your lessons into my.
Yeah, and he's not saying that
he
he supports or is against anything that I'm saying at any particular time. It's like those. I'm blanking on it, but it's basically like when a show is on. Okay, so Joe Rogan's really controversial. Well, I'm sure that whatever. If it's Sirius or iHeartRadio or whatever he's on, I'm sure they have a thing. Okay, Spotify, whatever it is. I'm sure that they have a thing somewhere that says we do not necessarily agree with everything that he says.
Yeah.
So but we support his right to say it.
Yeah.
That's basically you.
Yeah.
And you're not saying feed your kid bleach, but you're not saying don't do it either.
Hey.
Because it's my prerogative. It's my.
I'm not going to tell you how to raise your kids.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to tell you what worked for me, and if you want to apply it to your life, help yourself.
Yes,
if not, help yourself.
That's just the podcast in a nutshell. He's just saying you do you, and then tell me about it.
Yeah.
And if it works,
great.
Then maybe I incorporate it. And if it didn't work, then I'm not going to incorporate it. And so far,
and if it didn't, well, no, I'm not even going to say that. Go ahead.
and so far, he is yet to incorporate any of my ideas.
Well, that's because I have a girl. If I had a boy, maybe.
Well, some of them maybe would apply more to a woman, like the bleach. I think that a girl could drink. Okay, I let me stop right there because it turns out that children shouldn't drink even a little bit of bleach.
No.
Who knew?
Yeah.
This is one of those things. Today I learned, whatever. But I think that the less physically abusive things a girl could learn from. Blanking on any that I've come up with so far that you could apply, which is probably why you haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I mean.
There will come a time eventually where I will say, hey, now this week we're going to try this, be it solitary confinement or whatever the case may be, that you will say, hey, I'm going to try that one. But we just haven't reached that point yet. Yeah. I think that for lack of a better way of saying it, that's your own personal future dad. In the future, maybe one day you'll find something I do that works for her.
Yeah.
And when that day comes, I eagerly await the story that you have to share and how it benefited you and how you were able to get Libby to agree to try it in the first place.
Yeah.
I pretty much blew my load on the daddy issue today. I just covered it in daddy juice.
Well, we talked about it, then we went somewhere fun, and then we came back to it and went somewhere else, and
we were all over that. Like
it happens.
Yeah, we were like ants on a map with that. But really, it was just a matter of spewing forth one of those things we all deal with, and one of those things that's not necessarily a grind my gears, but that it is one you got to deal with in your own special way. If nothing else, it's one of those things where you don't necessarily need patience. I mean, like you do, as in all things with a child. But the answer to this isn't just be patient. The answer is, by and large, don't let your fucking kid train you. They're going to try, and sometimes it will turn out that they want something that only you can do. But you have to be really careful not to let them learn inadvertently that tears and whatever, even cute giggles and taking me by the hand will get them what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So don't let your baby train you. train them. You're the alpha, and they're the either the beta or the Charlie, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever your family. Maybe your wife is in the picture. Maybe she's not, but one or the other. You're the one that does the training. Just keep that in mind. And when they want food, yeah, you give it to them. But when they want something else, like a ball that's across the room, fucking go get it yourself.
Yeah.
So we talked about that for fucking the entire time.
Hey, it's all good.
Dan, you got your then and now. You got your treatise on the state of music today.
Yes.
You are going to let us know how you went this week between music back in our day, put up against music from closer to today.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, today.
Yeah, pretty much.
So who was the highest ranking rock acts of your then and now?
Okay, so in the year I was born of 1990, it was is it Jamie? Janie's Crying.
Janie's Got a Gun.
Oh, Janie's Got a Gun. God,
Janie's Crying.
I'm thinking of Van Halen.
Van Halen.
Yes,
yeah.
my bad. Okay, Janie's Got a Gun by Aerosmith.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. And that was the song of my year. And you know what? It's Aerosmith. I mean, Aerosmith's a really good rock band.
It's really hard to beat them.
Yeah, it is. It's very hard. So going in, I kind of, I don't know if it was a little bias or whatnot, because Aerosmith is just such an all-time great. But anyway, so my daughter was born in 2020, so I found the song. It was 21 Pilots. I have it wrote down here. Hold on.
I'm sure I've got it wrote down somewhere too, but
yeah.
Whether I'm able to quickly pull that up or not.
21 Pilots, Level of Concern. And I've heard 21 Pilots. I pulled up the song. I've never heard of that song before today. And I listened to it for, I don't know, about a minute. I'll give it that. That's being generous. And I just, no, it's not my cup of coffee.
Would you say it's not your cup of coffee because it's not rock enough, quote unquote rock? Or is it a little bit rock, but it's just not good enough to stand up to Aerosmith?
I would say both. It's rock isn't quote unquote I hate to be this old get off my lawn guy, but rock ain't what it used to be, and the whole genre I think is changing overall into something that it's just evolving and morphing into something different than what we know it as. I mean, you're a little older than me, so you know it a little better than I do as far as what was considered classic rock now. Like, you've experienced it a little longer than I have, so but that I don't like anything past, I don't know, like when I was in high school, I really don't, unless it's my favorite band because they're still going, but I don't listen to much that's new. It's all 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and then it's as it gets older, it's less and less and less. Like, it's just a few songs sprinkled in here and there that from bands that I've liked that started way back in the early 2000s, or hell, my band started in 99, so my favorite band started in 99. So
yeah, I think it's a foregone. Well, there's no debate about the fact that bands that are around for long stretches, their latter efforts are significantly worse in quality than their first few albums.
Yeah.
Most bands, I hesitate to say most, but it feels like most, have their best album. It's like one or two.
Yeah. And
then after that, things tend to kind of drop in quality.
For me, for my favorite band, it's their third and fourth albums, or I struggle. They're 1 and 1A for me.
Well, I know one particular band you like that their third or fourth album is the best for me.
Yeah.
By and large.
Yeah. So, and they're they're coming out with a new one in June. So yeah, I'm going to obviously listen to it, but
I think that one of the things that can change and that will allow them to do more quality things is when a band, and I'm blanking on this happening, and so I can't really back this up with facts, but I think that when a band change, a lot of bands will have a new album out and people will say, oh, that's different from your old stuff. Why did you change like that? And I'm one of those people typically, but at the same time, a band that changes like that gives them a chance to then come out with something quality again. Mm-hmm. So more power to you if that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Metallica, they came out with the Black Album, and that was like super awesome, and everybody loved it. And then they came out with, I think, Load. Okay, Load's good, but I remember at the time thinking, fuck this fucking dog shit. Fuck Load, fuck Reload, and fuck Metallica. And then they come around to, I think, Death Magnetic, maybe what it was.
That was pretty good.
I was like, okay, like this is the shit again.
Yeah.
What happened to them that re-energized them? So
they took a break forever.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Or maybe they just got all the horse shit out of the way, like out of their system, because they came out with, and some of these are maybe people's favorite Metallica albums, but things like Garage Inc. and S&M, like I
didn't really care for S&M. Garage Inc. had some decent songs. Wasn't that more of a cover?
Yeah, I think it was all covers.
Yeah.
But other than Whiskey in the Jar, I don't have one that I can.
They did Turn the Page.
Okay, Turn the Page. Yeah, that one was all right. And then beyond that, I piss on all of it. I can't fucking remember any of it.
Yeah.
So I think we have morphed this whole shit today. We've turned this musical conversation into a whole nother thing. We turned the daddy issue into a whole nother thing. I know that you wanted to share a couple facts. You had some fun facts for this particular then and now, or at least one. Yeah,
I have one. Since I'm not a super fan, but I do like Aerosmith. I have a cool fun fact, and it kind of goes along with what we're saying about how the rock industry in general is or the genre is changing. Everybody loves Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith. I mean, come on, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Well, in the beginning, before they even start singing, I mean, they might say the sweet, even before they do that, even it's just in the beginning, it's got the it's like that weird boing sound almost.
As soon as we stop the recording, it's coming on.
But anyway, Steven Tyler, he said this on Howard Stern, so you can go look this up. Go look it up. I swear, I've seen it. I've seen it multiple times.
Look it up.
In the beginning, he hits this thing and it makes it vibrate, and he hits it 3 times. And when he hits it on the 3rd time, it broke. And like he tells this story, it broke and fell on the floor, and they just said, "Fuck it, leave it in." And if you listen to the song, when we go back, if we listen to it after, I'll point it out to you, and you'll probably hear it. But on the 3rd time when he hits it, it breaks. And then they get there with all their fancy recording equipment and all their instruments and stuff, and they forget maracas for that song. Well, that song you would think would have maracas. It has maracas in the background. You know what that is?
The broken thing?
No, that's a damn sugar packet he found. And he got a mic and sat there and shook a sugar packet to make the quote unquote maraca sound in the intro to Sweet Emotion.
This is
I guess 2 little fun facts about Sweet Emotion.
That's
and Aerosmith.
That's cool. Yeah. 2 little fun facts. I love the audio side of this, how you can do things like that to come up with other things. Yep. It's like, it blows my mind and ties into my fascination with these older than 50s, but these golden age radio shows where they would make you think that they were really in this huge fight, breaking shit all over the room, or chasing after somebody on horseback in a Western. And really they're just doing like the craziest things to make these sounds that sound exactly like what you think you're hearing.
Yeah.
And it's not, like you said, it's not even always something like logical, something that you would think of. Or that a normal person would think of to do to imitate it. It's like no one would say sugar packet maracas, fucking do it.
Yeah.
But Steven Tyler did.
Yep.
And it sounded fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I really love that inventive side of
that would never happen now. The artist would, if you didn't have maracas, he'd pitch a fit till they got you maracas. Like there's no, or if they broke something, they would scrap it and not leave it in the song. I mean, I'm sure they had to listen back to it and be like, "Oh, that sounds so cool, leave it in." But that would never be an option now. If that broke, they'd be like, "Scrap it, give me another one." Like halt production till we get another one. And
nowadays that shit would be on some sort of pre-recorded track.
Oh yeah.
That they would just always use the same thing. Everywhere they went, every show they did, it would always sound the same because they'd just be using the same shit.
And he talks about there's more in that. If you look it up on YouTube, he talks to Howard Stern more about other stuff, but...
So are you able to find a lot of Howard Stern shows on YouTube?
Just clips.
Okay.
It's just like if you type in Aerosmith or if you type in Steven Tyler, Howard Stern, Sweet Emotion, it'll come up.
I was listening to another podcast and one of the hosts was talking about how he's been watching a lot of Howard Stern, a lot of old Howard Stern lately. And that was reasonably interesting to me because he had some cool guests on it at other points. I went back and listened to a clip the other day. This has nothing to do with music, but supposedly this serial killer called in and told him all about how he acted as a serial killer and picked the people he was going to kill, and it was supposed to be real. And supposedly, as far as Howard is concerned, it either was real or the guy was putting on a really good show because supposedly Howard wasn't in on it. And I thought that if that was on there, then there had to be other things to listen to. So I was hoping that you were going to say, yeah, it's fucking YouTube's got everything he's done.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you can. I've seen a bunch of clips of I've seen Chris Cornell on there before talking way back before he passed about.
I mean, everybody cool was on there.
Yeah, and I've seen. Hell, I think Metallica just the other day was playing. Somebody big was just performing on Stern the other day. Like they had.
Well, he is still around. I just think that he's not quite the shock jock that he used to be, where there was a lot of interesting things happening.
Yeah.
Like I remember he was on. I don't know if this was really a long time ago, but he used to have that show on Entertainment TV or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I loved watching that, but it seemed like there was only a few episodes just repeated again and again. So anyways, that's going to do it for the then and now, and we are going to try to bring you a couple more facets of that going forward as far as the fun facts, and maybe give you a little bit more to interest you when it comes to that particular segment beyond our ever growing list of victors in the contest of the ages. Rock music now versus rock music back then, and as you mentioned, this is really nuanced because it's not the same rock music.
No.
So it's really a matter
and
of...
it's our opinion, too.
Yeah, it's our opinion, and it's tied into...
But, I mean, we do listen to a lot of music, and...
Yeah, and I listen to a lot of new music.
We're not professionals or by any means in that, but...
I think that it counts for at least a little bit.
Yeah.
We aren't just J-Brones coming in off the street that listen to a couple songs.
Yeah.
We only listen to rock music for the most part.
For the most part.
Like, I do listen to some hip-hop, some... country music, but it ain't new shit.
Nope.
When
I would say my liked songs list is like 90. I'll give it 97% rock or metal.
Yeah, there's like I can think of off the top of my head one band called Midland. They're a country band that is relatively new, and I listen to a lot of their stuff.
Yep.
But beyond that, if you're not rock, I don't listen to a lot of the newer stuff because it's just too different. The rap music is boring sometimes because they just repeat the same stuff again and again. Country music is more poppy than I like.
Yep.
So I just stick to the older stuff because it's just what I prefer, and I don't listen to a lot of it because I've listened to it a lot.
Yeah. It's what I like, and like we keep talking them like these segments, the old music usually wins.
Yeah. And once again, obviously if we didn't, make it implicit.
Clear enough.
Yeah, Aerosmith won this one.
Yes.
And spoiler alert, if Aerosmith comes up in a later then and now, Aerosmith's probably going to win.
Or it better be a damn good song.
Yeah, or for a fact that newer band it really came with it. Really came strong.
Yeah.
So we've come down to the end, and that means we've come down to, I say this, but I really did, this has got to be everybody's favorite segment.
Yeah.
I used to say this for everything.
I look forward to it.
But really, it gives me so much. It makes me smile. It ends us on a high note. No matter what kind of, nasty, dark shit we talked about.
Didn't we have a dark episode recently? And then we were like, hey, we did this kind of thing. At least we're going to brighten it up with a dad joke.
I'm sure that a lot of people would have found our school episode a little bit dark.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the one.
That one had very few laughs spread out through it. So it's always good when you have episodes like that to end it with something funny. And I'm glad that you are more than willing to share the newest and hottest dad joke on the market. Give it to us.
Love me some dad jokes. Why is Peter Pan always flying?
Oh man, I don't even know. Some of them I can kind of work out, but I don't know at all.
Because he never lands.
Oh wow, he never lands. That one, it's always, who comes up with these? Like I feel like
I don't know.
It's either really smart dads or or really smart moms. I don't know. But I've never heard a dad joke and thought, oh, well, I could have did that. Like I could have come up with something that funny. No, even though they're all simple and they all make you laugh and they all make you smile, I would not be able to come up with a single one.
Nope.
It's worse than it looks like. It's worse than an impression. I've gathered a little bit of experience in those sorts of things. But these dad jokes are just something like that you experience. You can't really partake. Like a good sports event. I'm not ever going to be out there throwing that football or hitting that home run, but I can watch it and I can take joy from it.
Yep.
And that's what I do with dad jokes.
Mm-hmm.
They will always land with me because I love them all.
Yep.
And we have reached the end of the road. We're about to ride off into the sunset. Once again, we thank all you for joining us. You can still hit me up on Twitter if you want, but I uninstalled that app because I just don't use it.
Yeah.
So you may go a while without a response. I think your best bet now is going to be to use Apple ratings or to use the Q&A through Spotify. And if you want to say something beyond that, we'll read it and we can go from there. Our fans are happy with 100% of what we say and do.
Seems to be.
They have no ideas or questions or complaints. They are just perfectly content with everything we say.
Mm.
And there seems very little interaction to be had at this point. But with that being said, like I mentioned before, do leave us something on the Q&A or something on the rating. I can only hope that Apple will start sending me notifications once we get enough or any ratings built up.
Yeah.
So that we will then know that people are trying to communicate. But I don't think, like I said, that they are. I think that they are simply content to lay back and spread their legs and let us fill them with daddy juice.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that. We are glad that we found people that are so into what we're putting out. And thanks again. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. I know some of you were sharing because we got people in other countries.
Yeah.
I didn't share with those people.
No.
I don't know anybody outside of America, really. So thanks for spreading that word.
I know a couple, but that's it.
Yeah, well, you're a bit more widespread than I am. You've moved around a little bit more.
Yeah.
You're a
transplant.
Yeah, I was going to try and think of something clever or funny to say, but it fell flat. You're a transplant and you've traveled more and you've got more friends. You're more popular.
Well,
people like you. They don't like me. They don't want to be my friend. I'm just happy that they want to listen to my podcast. And keep on listening and keep on sharing, keep on living.
Keep on rating, keep on downloading.
Yeah, please download. I think that some places do mix the listens and the downloads, but just to be safe, just go ahead and download it. I mean, if you download it, you can listen to it whenever. And it's just going to be, you don't even have to search for it through your other podcasts. I know some people listen to a bunch of different stuff. So just, download it. It'll be in your new episodes or your saved episodes, whatever it's called, on whatever you listen to. And there will be whenever you want us. Mm-hmm. And unlike me, I know that a lot of people do listen to one episode and then skip however many days and listen to another. I'm more of I have to stop myself from binging sometimes. So it surprises me when people aren't exactly like me in every way, shape, or form. But if you download, it's always going to be there at your ready access. And I guess that's better. I don't know. I'm not really concerned with numbers in being better or worse because we're just starting out. And even though we're doing well for how long we've been doing it, it's best not to focus on that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just focus on sharing our message.
Just worried about building our library.
Yeah, getting our word out.
Yep.
And getting these dedicated fans of indeterminate number, however many they are. I really don't. It would be awesome if we knew we have this many. But I'm just
glad that we have some.
Yeah.
I don't care. Not to be mean. I don't care how many. I'm just glad we have some fans.
I want to know how many. I want to know their race, genders, emails, and social security numbers.
And home address.
I want to know their sexual proclivities. I want to know how many kids they have. I want to know a lot of things. And if you could send me that information through whatever form you want to send it, that'd be great. I won't share it with anybody that won't use it to the best benefit of the world in general, and me. So just trust and believe that it will be put to the best use. Beyond that, like I said, live, laugh, love, because those people tell me those are good things. I guess they're supposed to be things that make you happy. I don't know. I don't do them a lot, but you do them. You do them, and you maybe they'll work for you. And beyond that, I'm Corey.
I'm Dan.
We are You Two Dads, and we will check you later.
Check you later.
I want you to know it's over.
Well, bye.
You smell that, Bill? Smells like someone died.